Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Terri Cole Show. I am so happy that you are joining me today. I want to start with a question. Do you ever find yourself rushing to fix other people's problems, even sometimes before they ask you to? Or maybe you pride yourself on sort of being that go-to person that everyone comes to for all their problems, and that you're the I'm fine, I got it person when it comes to your own problems, right? You probably, if you're nodding your head, anticipate other people's needs, you overdeliver, and perhaps you rarely ask for help. You feel like you're being helpful, but deep down, you might be real tired. Like, are you exhausted? Maybe a teeny bit resentful, a little bit underappreciated, and unsure why your relationships feel not that satisfying. Anybody? If you're nodding your head yes, guess what? I'm talking about all that and more in today's episode of The Terri Cole Show. Really, we're talking about when helping is hurtful, right? And so many of you I know identify as high-functioning codependents, but we cross boundaries, even though we have the best of intentions. So I'm going to be talking about the hidden cost of that, emotional fixing, and basically what we can do to respect the sovereignty of others. So that is a mouthful. Before we get into it, I want to make sure if you are new to this channel that you introduce yourself in the comments, because we are a very friendly group here. Subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. So I wouldn't want you to miss a thing because you are the people I am creating it for. All right, let's move it on into today's episode. All right, this can be complicated, you guys, right? Because we're not trying to hurt, but sometimes helping and auto-helping and auto-fixing does hurt. And this is sort of about high-functioning codependence, how we have this tendency, and I say we, because I'm in recovery, but trust me, I still want to do it, that we have a tendency to cross boundaries, even when we have the best of intentions. So there is a hidden cost, which is what we're going to be talking about today, for all of our own hyper-independence, where like, we got it. And then there is all of the emotional fixing of other people and the importance of us learning to tolerate, to allow the people in our lives to feel their own feelings, and really how much that really is a stand for love when we can do that. So moving into, I know you guys, identify with this because you're here and you're in my community. We talk about it quite a bit. But most of the time when I'm talking about boundaries, I'm talking about it from the point of view, if you think about Boundary Boss, my first book, a lot of Boundary Boss was written from the perspective of how do we get other people to respect our boundaries, right? How do I uphold my boundaries? How do I communicate my boundaries? And this is a little different lens, right? Because when we are high-functioning codependents, and I wrote quite a bit about this in this book right here, Too Much. If you're watching on YouTube, you see my book right behind me, as it always is, where boundary issues for codependents a lot of times is the fact that the codependent is crossing boundaries. So this is more of like the sneaky side of high-functioning codependency. So it doesn't always look like sort of this messy, dramatic neediness that we can associate with the term codependency, right? As we know, right, if you're an HFC, you're highly capable. So it shows up differently for us because we are kind of the caregivers. We are the leaders, we're the therapists, we're the coaches, we're the founders, right? We're the moms, we're the dads, we're the best friends who just know what you need. And we're just there to do the thing, right? But beneath the calm exterior, as you know from all of our conversations about high-functioning codependency, is this, I want to say it's an invisible compulsion to manage other people's emotions, right? To fix instead of feel, because fixing helps us avoid our own uncomfortable feelings. This is what we're doing. When we're compulsively fixing, we are sort of running away from the feelings we don't want to feel. To offer solutions, right? Instead of being able to just like hold firm in our presence for people or to earn love through usefulness, right? I always talk about, this desire, this sense, or this need to be utilitarian. Like it's almost like we feel compelled to earn our place. Our value is so connected to what we do. And so I think it's really important that we point out, right? It's not malicious, of course, right? I can promise you that my heart personally has always been in the right place. I never had the intention to trample people's boundaries, to control people, although I was doing those things. But it was not in my conscious mind that I was doing them. So it's not malicious, and it's learned behavior, right? It's survival, right? We're just trying to survive, basically, the emotions that we don't know how to manage. And so much of the time, especially with the overfunctioning and overgiving, these things, being the savior, being the hyper helper, that becomes our identity. So I want to talk a little bit about the hyper independence of it all. Not allowing others to give to us is just exhausting and bad for our relationships. Generally speaking, with the high functioning codependents in my therapy practice and in my life and my own experience, there is this massive fear of becoming a burden to others or of needing too much, like being too needy. What happens is the hyper independence itself, though, often pushes people away, right? Because we fear relying on people. Like I think about what a revelation it was for me in my relationship with my husband, Victor, decades ago. Obviously, many of you know I've been with Vic 27 years. I can remember I was forced to rely on him because I had injured myself. And so I couldn't do the normal overfunctioning thing because I couldn't walk. I had really messed up my ankle and I was about to travel. And so was he, but we weren't going together because we were only together for like 3 weeks at this point. And he was driving all around trying to find me the right ankle wrap so that when I got to Italy, I'd be able to walk on it. Like, just going all over the place. He went to like 5 different places. He kept calling me on the phone. And this is before cell phones, people. That's how old we are. And I was in his studio elevating my leg, and he was calling me, giving me updates like, all right, so I just left that CVS and I got this, and now I'm going to Dick's Sports Good because I heard that whatever. And I remember getting off the phone with him, and it was like I had this realization that like I could count on him and that it was okay, that he was going out of his way for me, that he thought I was worth going out of his way for. And that what would it be like if I just received that? And I remember I started crying and I could not stop bawling my eyes out. But it was like this relief was the feeling where I was like, can I allow myself to believe that maybe this person is different and maybe they are capable and maybe they are emotionally trustworthy and maybe it's okay to let him do for me. And, that was 27 years ago, and obviously it was okay, and it is okay if you're partnering with the right person, but it was so threatening to me as this overfunctioner because my way of feeling safe was overdoing. My way of safe was to be like the hyper caretaker for him, but in this situation, I couldn't do it. Thank God. The universe put me in that position because how long would it have ever taken for me to, on my own, give up my high-functioning codependent ways? I don't think so. I don't think that I would have done it. So let's talk a little bit about the boundaries of it all, right? That how we can be these sort of boundary bullies or boundary tramplers, but not meaning to. So when you're someone who lives in that fixer mode, right? We're always auto-fixing other people. It can be so challenging to slow down and just realize when we are giving people auto advice that they haven't asked for, we're crossing a boundary. When we do something for someone that they haven't asked us to do, that you don't even know if they want you to do it, That's crossing a boundary. Another thing that is hard to reckon with, but it's true, is that when we do this, we are preventing others from building their own emotional strength and resiliency and, getting their whole critical thinking together. And their problem-solving skills are not getting better when we automatically solve problems. Make sense? And I think, again, I've talked about this before, but I feel like it bears repeating that what we're really doing in those situations is we are soothing our own anxiety. I mean, maybe it inadvertently helps theirs too. I loved to think of myself as like I was doing it only for them, And yet the truth in my own therapeutic process, and hence how HFC came to be born and how the book came to be born and this whole movement of understanding, is that it really wasn't just me being Mother Teresa. I really was being driven by how uncomfortable that person's pain or suffering or their lack of knowing what to do, right? That uncertainty made me so uncomfortable that I was really soothing my own anxiety, and I'm not alone, because you're doing that too if you are auto-fixing, right? Trying to stop someone from crying, right? Jumping in isn't always about kindness. It could be about your own discomfort, problem solving without being asked. This is a subtle form of control, giving and giving until you're depleted. It isn't necessarily like this great or noble thing to do. It sets us up to end up as martyrs, which is not what we want, because it just leads to resentment, which we know. So what does it look like, right? So now let's move to the other side. What does it look like to respect other people's boundaries and their right to be sovereign? Well, it looks like doing less. Right? It looks like being more. It looks like asking before acting, right? It looks like letting people feel hard things without rushing in to remove the discomfort, because keep in mind, it's our own discomfort we are attempting to remove. It can sound like, would it help to talk through solutions, or do you just want someone to sit with you? How can I best support you right now? It could look like, I want to support you. How would you like me to show up right now? What would be helpful? It seems hard what you're going through. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. I'm here. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm just here to be with you. Just saying that to me relaxes my nervous system, because when someone is trying to fix me, oh man, I don't know. Is it just me? Do you like it when someone is treating you as a problem to be fixed? I really don't. In this practice, when we get into recovery from being an HFC, it really is emotional respect that we are giving other people, right? Allowing others the dignity of their own process, giving people the gift of space, even when every cell in your body wants to, quote unquote, help. We want to jump in, but we don't need to, right? And I've created a guide for you. Go to terricole.com/guide, and I'm giving you some steps to how you can respect other people's boundaries, even when you really want to help, right? So what is the real work for us in all of this? It's really just being with ourselves, right? Give yourself space. Start to get radically curious about your own emotions, your own feelings about things, right? Because how can we give other people space if we don't give it to ourselves? So what does this look like in real life, right? Letting yourself rest without guilt. Feeling your own feelings without numbing through productivity or drink or drugs or gummies. It's so funny how since weed became more like legal everywhere, people minimize its impact, but it's still numbing, right? And I'm not saying you can't use it to sleep, but you know what you're using it for, It also can look like you asking for support, right? You asking for help, even when it feels weird to do so, or it feels like you might be too much in asking for help. You'd be so shocked at how happy this makes the people in your life who want to show up for you. I mean, every time I ask Vic to do something for me, he's just super pumped to do it. I have to remind myself that he's that same person. He wants to make my life easier. He wants to add value. All these decades later, he still does. And it's like, and he's an HFC too. So we both work on allowing the other person to add value because that, acts of service are part of our love language together, I think that a really big part of shifting this, though, is that we have to let go of the belief that our worth is tied to how needed we are by other people, right? Being needed and being loved are two different things. And I think if we set ourselves up to be super utilitarian, like I must be adding value, that's us doing that. That's not necessarily what the people in our life think or the way that they want it to be. So when you respect your own boundaries, right, you begin to notice and respect other people's more naturally. So this is why it's sort of an inside job where we start having better boundaries for ourselves, right? When you're not relating from this place of overfunctioning, but from a place of presence and realizing that your presence is the present, not to be corny, but you get it? Like that is the gift to other people. And you don't have to save people to be loved. Because look, at the end of the day, what do we all want? We want connection. We want to be seen, right? But real connection doesn't come from saving or fixing. It comes from standing beside someone, right, in their mess, in the silence, and just saying, I see you. I trust you to feel this. But I'm here for support. And that's different than saving. The subtext of saving is, I don't think you can handle this. That's the subtext. And that's pretty presumptuous of us to assume that other people can't handle their own lives. So just pause. Take a deep breath. Ask before you act. And remember, as corny as it sounds, feeling is actually healing. And there really is no healing for you or them when we're avoiding our feelings. There just isn't. There's no way around the middle of this process. And if this happened for you, you listened to this, you read this blog, you were like, oh wow, oh my God, this is so me. Oh, my friend, you are not alone. And you do not have to untangle this all by yourself. Boundary Bootcamp is here. We are kicking off soon. Now, this is where high-functioning codependents come to unlearn the guilt, the overgiving, the emotional micromanaging, and finally, reclaim their peace. In Boundary Bootcamp, you will learn to set boundaries that actually stick without the shame spiral. Like, ugh, who needs it? Saying no without explaining your entire life story. You don't have to write a whole dissertation on it. And you can reconnect with the version of you that doesn't need to overfunction to feel worthy. Are you ready to trade resentment for relief? Are you ready for that? Go to terricole.com/boundary bootcamp. I cannot wait to spend the next couple of months with you inside this revolutionary and life-changing course. If not now, my friends, when? And if not you, who? Because you are the only one who can do it, right? It is you. Anyway, I am really hoping that this episode added value to your life. I'm so incredibly grateful that you are here. I hope you check out Boundary Bootcamp and join us because I would love to see you on the inside. I hope you have the most amazing week. And as always, take care of you.